Oh, hey, hold on. Hey, I got something for you, man. If you ever needed to know how to maintain your car, you just got to the right place. Let's say you're a new car owner or nobody just never taught you. I got 8 things for you that you need to know about your car. Hold on, one more thing. God is everything. Without God, I'm nothing. So we all know that cars can be very, very expensive, and they're even more expensive if you tear them up. So in this video, man, I'm gonna be trying to help y'all not tear them up. So the first thing, man, that I want to talk about is number 8 is your windshield wipers, man, which is these things here, right? Look at them, make sure they aren't broken, make sure they not scratching your glass, etc., man. They are very easy to put on. A lot of your parts stores will install them for you if you need them, and they are pretty inexpensive. A very nice pair will probably cost you $20, but just check Amazon. Sometimes they got some real good deals on them for you. Number 7 is check your oil. Check your oil, man. Check your oil. I will show you a few examples right now. Back on the subject of oil. On this car, the oil stick is back here. It's yellow, and just pull it out, and there's always a safe zone. There's usually a spot that has a marked area that tell you when you need to add oil or when you're good to go. If in a situation you need to add oil, right, there's typically a cap that you would twist off, but you can't just put any oil in your car. Make sure you're getting the right oil and you're putting the right amount of oil in, because too much oil is just as bad as too little oil. The very next thing is your tires, man. Your tires are very, very, very important, man. Very important. The road gets wet, your tire can blow out. On a dry road, it don't matter. So what you want to do is, I'll pop a picture of the thing to check your tread, which is the amount of tire you have, the grooves in your tires, and I'll drop a picture of the tool that you need to check the tire pressure in your tires. But your tires are very important. Check them, make sure they aren't bald, make sure you don't have any wire showing in them, man, and that's pretty much it for that one. Next thing, check your battery, man. Make sure you don't have any kind of white stuff on your battery or your battery terminals. I will turn the camera around and use my Fox body or my Mustang to show y'all what to look for on your battery. All right, man, so on this car, the battery is located right here. Your battery can be on that side. Some people have batteries in the trunk. Some people have, if you got an SUV, sometimes your battery can be located up under seats in different areas, so you need to figure out where your battery is. But these are your terminals, and you have a red one and a black one. Just make sure you don't have any kind of white, I can say powdery looking stuff on these. Just make sure they're clean, make sure they aren't loose, and not too rusty. I mean, a little rust don't hurt, but make sure they aren't too rusty, because if not, you may need to get them replaced. Next up, we have your air filter. And there's usually, and I'll drop y'all a picture of it, because they gonna look different on every car, but there's usually a black box or black tube that comes around, and it usually leads to a black box. And it's usually pretty easy to open. You usually just pop some little tabs and they pop open, and they're relatively cheap. On your newer cars, which I don't have anything that's that new, other than the Challenger, those cars do have what's called a cabin air filter, which filters the air that comes in the car, right? Those are pretty easy to replace also. Usually push the tabs in on the glove box, pull it down, pop a tab, pop a couple tabs open, put the new filter in, close it back up, you good to go. Same with the outside, man. So those are another thing that you need to know. Next up, check your belt, man. I can show y'all belts, but I'll show y'all the belt, but your belt can be in different locations. It can be on the side of your engine. It can be on the passenger side, driver side. Some are on the front. A lot of your V8 cars, they're on the front. But typically, you just want to make sure they tight, and you want to make sure they aren't cracked. Look at them, just make sure they don't look cracked or torn or anything like that. But I will show y'all how to check them. And so the belt on this car, or this car might have 2 belts, I don't know. All right, so this car does have 2 belts, and you just want to push on the belts, man, just making sure they aren't loose and they aren't trying to come off or anything of that nature. You usually can twist and turn them like that, or I don't know if y'all can see that, but kind of twist and turn them, and just make sure you don't see any cracks in the belt. But they should be super loose, man. We mentioned checking stuff for the engine. Oil was one of the big ones. Another big one, man, that will destroy your engine is your coolant. Make sure you check that coolant. And if it's wintertime, make sure there isn't water in there. Make sure you have actual coolants in there. The difference between the water and the coolant, water will freeze inside your engine and it will crack your block. So what I'm saying is, just make sure, you know, coolant is usually green, or it can be orange, it can be different colors, but just make sure it just isn't straight water in there, man. But I will show y'all an example of coolant jug. Like I said, it's gonna vary. This is an old 93 Mustang, so yours may not be in the same spot, but I will show y'all a few different things to make sure that's coolant in your engine. All right, man, so right back on this 93 Mustang with a little 4-cylinder in it, right? There's 2 ways you can check the coolant, right? The way I really like, now do not check this after the engine has been running. Like, make sure the engine is not hot. A way that you can make sure the engine ain't hot is your top coolant hose right here. If you can squeeze it, the engine is normally good. But if there's pressure on it, do not open anything. The jug, the radiator, nothing. All right, so now that we got that out the way, the easiest way for you to check your coolant is, number 1, is just making sure the jug has coolant, and just making sure the line coming from this jug is going into the radiator. All right, but the way to not miss, the way you just can't miss, is popping the cap off your radiator and making sure that's coolant. Surefire way you can't miss. None of these were in no particular order. They're all equally as important, because if you don't check your oil, you'll tear your engine up. If you don't check your coolant, you'll tear your engine up. So, you know, transmission fluid, if you don't check that, you'll tear the transmission up. So any fluid that you check is equally as important as the next. So anything I say is equally as important. But the very last thing are your hoses. Check your hoses, make sure they aren't cracked. Always, like, especially if you got a concrete driveway, look up under the car to make sure you don't see anything leaking. Or if it's red, it's probably transmission fluid. If it's black, it may be oil. But always consult with a mechanic that you trust. There's a lot of other little things you can check, especially if you live up north where it snows. I would say wiper fluid is very important. Brake fluid is definitely important. That's about all you can check as an amateur. But there's one other tip I do want to throw in. Check your spare tire also, right? The deal with spare tires is a lot of the newer cars, they're not putting spare tires in there. So just when you buy a car, make sure you got a spare tire in there. If it's a truck or SUV, sometimes the spare tire can be up on the bottom. If it's a van, sometimes it's up on the bottom on the passenger side, right where that door slides open. It can be there. Anyway, man, I just wanted to do a very informational video, man, on this whole deal. I think I pretty much covered everything. But anything I forgot, man, y'all put it down in the comments, let me know. I will be making some other tutorials. If anything you want to see, let me know. PullsTv, gone.